Back, listen, I this is no inclination about the trade or trade rumors. I just mentioned that I thought that Colorado and Carolina played a very similar style of hockey. So I think when this trade happened, I wasn't blown away because I said to myself, they do play a fast game, a disciplined game, and a game that gets out of the zone quick. That's what Rantanen and that's what Natchez do best. So, boys, I don't know who wants to start, but that trade was something. I mean, way to rock the NHL on a Friday night. Tolsky, who, by the way, general manager who was not involved in hockey for a very long time.
All right. I guess I'll start because Steve started on the last thing. Um, I think blockbusters. I think overall blockbusters of this quality, of this caliber, are fantastic for the league. I mean, I think both teams are probably in a win-win situation here. Um, Martin Necas hasn't reached the heights of Rantanen yet, but his ceiling is definitely so high. Um, he's on pace for I think 92 points this season. He's definitely going to have a great career in Colorado, and also to send Jack Drury to Colorado is great because you know not that Colorado necessarily had crazy depth issues. It has been an issue in the past for them. So to get a depth like meat and potatoes kind of guy in Drury is a great pickup for them. And then on the flip side, like Rantanen for Carolina, Carolina finally filled a need that they have had. They haven't been able to match up with metro teams like Washington, like New York, um, even the Devils that have had obviously the Devils really haven't done too much in the playoffs, but like they haven't matched any caliber player like Jack Hughes or Panarin or not. I mean, Ovi's still old, but Ovi's still Ovi. And now to have a guy like that, a pure goal scorer, is going to be huge for them. And also, like Steve mentioned, Taylor Hall looked really, really good last night.
Of course.
And I mean, he's a former Hart Trophy winner. He's got the dog in him. So, I mean, Carolina's always been a depth-heavy team, and to get a depth guy like that, and especially a vet like him who's played with literally everybody in the league, it's a great trade all around. And granted, does it help the Rangers that it was Carolina that made that trade? No, but I don't know. As just a hockey guy in general, it's an exciting trade to see.
All
Yeah,
right, Steve, your take.
I think I agree with you, Mike. Echoing off of that, Taylor Hall is a great secondary, offensive producer. Even though he's not going to be asked to step into a huge role in Carolina, he still fits, a fantastic role. Being that secondary offensive producer. He doesn't have the speed that he once did, and I don't think he gets in the scoring areas quite often. As he used to, but he still has great vision. He's got hands, and he really, will give the team. What did he bring? I think they said last night 40, 45 points. On a third line role. With second unit power play duties. I still think. That's still very big for the Canes, and with Rantanen, it always seems to be a Friday night that these things go down, thinking back to the Matty to Chuck trade. But I think it's a great move for both sides. You look at it and it could be really scary for both teams. I wonder who's going to get the best of it this year. We'll see if Carolina can finally cap off a deadline move. Gensel really didn't pan out last year, but I think Rantanen is on a different caliber. You boys know I love Gensel, but Rantanen is on a different caliber level than Gensel was. And I also think that Jack Drury also had a tough time finding his spot in Carolina. I think the Hurricanes are one of the deepest teams in the league, and they obviously could have afforded this move. So I think it's great. There's a massive amount of potential sitting on both sides. And I also want to highlight, a point that you touched upon, Mike, is, let's not underestimate the Avs return on this. I think in Necas and what the Avs got, I do think that it's going to work out for them. I do like it. So we'll see who gets the better of this. Matt, I want to hear your thoughts though.
You guys are sleeping on Chicago's return on this one.
I honestly forgot that they were involved.
Which is insane. I mean,
I know.
Well, you boys know how much I love Marty Necas. I took him like 2021 NHL fantasy hockey. I took him way too high. I'm big on him. You know why? He's like S tier Phil Heedle. This guy, he cuts like he literally did it like 3 seconds into the game the other day. He cuts through the entire team and then takes his shot on goal. Now, Necas, I feel like he still has that Phil Heedle. I mean, same draft class, by the way. He still has that Phil Heedle in him where like he misses the net, but he'll carve up your team and get to the. He's fast. He's got a slingshot. And you know what? You know, Joe Micheletti made a good point the other night. Rantanen had a few scoring chances. I was shocked he only registered one assist. I think he got Igored hardcore. This is a player that's fourth, top 5 in points in the NHL the last 5 seasons. Cup winner, right? There's conversation about does 96 go in the rafters in Colorado? He also did play against Nate Mack. That doesn't take away from him, but that's an adjustment. He's going to be playing next to Finnish Sebastian Aho. So a countryman, a player that might be able to convince him to stay longer than this season. But you think that's an adjustment. It's a very different game. You know, we've been critical of Aho on here. We do have to acknowledge his talents, but it's a different style of game than Nathan McKinnon. And I think Natchez is going to benefit a lot from that. This is a player that's a little bit younger, has a little more room to grow. We know what Rantanen's bringing 100 points, which Carolina hasn't had since Eric Stahl's prime. But the return, Necas has that high ceiling, and I really like that for Colorado. So I know the Huberdeau-Tkachuk trade is kind of overshadowed by the result of Huberdeau's play, but I do think it is pretty cool to see, you know, in the last few years, these massive, Richter scale trades go down in the NHL. Real fun. I think it's fun, and I also think it's going to make it a challenge for teams like the Rangers to overcome Carolina. This is a team that we saw get swept in the conference final in 23. Their kryptonite seems to be their kryptonite seems to be the New York Rangers. But yeah, overall, man, great trade.